You might be sleeping next to a woman who's going to cheat on you, and you don't even realize it. The truth is, there are shocking differences between women who cheat and women who don't, and most men are blind to them. Women don't just cheat out of nowhere. They give signs. They change their tone, their habits, their tests. The real question is, are you noticing? This video will show you, with clarity, how to identify each of these differences before it's too late. Now pay attention. If you skip any part of this video, you might miss a detail that's the difference between living in peace or falling into an emotional trap. Stick with me until the end. What you'll learn here might just save you from your next heartbreak. Let's start with the most obvious behavior, the way she handles responsibility in a relationship. The woman who cheats never takes responsibility. The first major difference between a woman who cheats and one who doesn't lies in how she handles emotional responsibility. The cheating woman always finds someone else to blame: the partner, the routine, boredom, lack of attention. The loyal woman has something the other never developed: self-control. She feels the same temptation, but chooses not to act on it, out of respect for her man's masculine dignity and for what they've built. Pay attention. Every woman can be emotionally tested at some point. That's when her true value shows. The cheater uses instinct as an excuse. The loyal one controls it with awareness. One acts, the other reacts. One talks, the other provokes. A woman who doesn't cheat has enough emotional intelligence to express what's wrong before she stabs you in the back. That it's common for unfaithful women to show subtle signs of emotional escape. She goes cold, disappears, avoids serious conversations, and dodges eye contact. All of this is a red flag. A loyal woman faces the truth, even when it hurts. She respects the bond not because she's perfect, but because she has emotional loyalty. Cheating, to her, isn't an option. It's a disgrace that a woman who cheats tends to repeat the same cycle with different men. No matter how hard her partner tries, she chases excitement where there's a lack of maturity. That behavioral pattern shows up early in how she talks about her exes, how she handles criticism, how she deals with boredom. Most men miss it when they're blinded by looks or the urge to please if there's more. Cheating women often pursue parallel flings out of a deep craving for male validation. They need to feel desired, even if it means destroying someone else's trust. The loyal woman? She doesn't need that. She validates herself for who she is, not for the number of likes or flirtatious comments she gets. That changes everything. So if you want to know who you're dealing with, pay attention to how she handles discomfort. The cheater runs, attacks, or hides. The loyal one talks, faces it, and chooses with clarity. It may sound simple, but this difference can change the course of a toxic relationship before it even begins. And the next sign is even more dangerous, because it often gets mistaken for passion. Let's move on to a trait that says more than most men realize. The cheating woman constantly tests you, and you don't even notice. Here's a subtle but brutal truth. Cheating women constantly throw out emotional tests, and most men don't even notice. They test you with attention games, shady compliments, emotional traps. Why? Because they need to feel in control. A woman who doesn't cheat also tests sometimes, but when she does, it's out of mild insecurity, not manipulation. The woman who cheats plays with chaos. She pokes to see if you'll lose control. She says something to provoke you, then watches how you react. That's subtle manipulation. If you fall for the game, she loses respect, and once respect dies, betrayal creeps in. The loyal woman seeks stability, not adrenaline. She wants connection, not conflict. A classic example. She starts comparing you to other men, even if subtly, or she begins to chip away at you, saying you could be more this or less that. That's not encouragement, that's devaluation. And when a man stays quiet and takes it, his masculine self-concept starts to erode. That's when he loses himself. Faithful women also have their emotional moments, but instead of provoking, they communicate. They say, "I feel distant lately," or "I miss something between us." The cheating woman turns into an actress, creates stories, fakes distance, offers selective affection. It's a cycle of tension where her goal is to throw you off balance, because that feeds her illusion of control. Now, not every test is malicious. But if it becomes a pattern, if she's challenging you more than admiring you, be careful. You might already be in a toxic relationship. And the next phase is emotional contempt. A woman who values connection will challenge you to help you grow. A woman who plans to cheat will challenge you to break you down. That's why the way she tests you says everything about her nature. And if you don't respond with clear boundaries, you'll become just another man tested, used, and discarded. And the next trait digs even deeper into this tendency to manipulate under the surface that we've reached a point most men ignore. But it reveals everything. The cheating woman has a history she's hiding. Women don't start cheating out of nowhere. There's a past that gives it away, but she hides it. Maybe it's an ex who was just a friend, a relationship that was complicated, or breakups that never made much sense. These are fragments of a hidden character. The loyal woman, on the other hand, has a clear story, flaws and all, because she's not living in denial. The difference is how she owns her past. The cheating woman edits, masks, and glosses over it. The loyal one is honest about her mistakes and what she learned. Men who pay attention see the truth between the lines. If she dodges details or tailors the story based on who's asking, that's a warning. Emotional transparency separates a mature woman from one still playing games. A clear example. You ask about past relationships and she replies, "It was complicated," or "That's in the past, it doesn't matter." That's not maturity. That's omission. In female psychology, that's often a sign of avoiding accountability. The woman who cheats tends to repeat old cycles because she never processed her mistakes. She just moved on, unchanged. A loyal woman talks about her past openly, even the parts that weren't pretty. She shows growth, better choices, and a deeper sense of commitment. That's rare these days. Knowing someone's past isn't being nosy, it's being prepared. You need to know if you're starting something new or just becoming the next chapter in her recurring pattern. Another key point: when confronted about her past, the cheating woman gets defensive or evasive. That's a classic sign of broken trust. The loyal woman looks you in the eye, answers firmly, and sees no reason to hide. The problem is never the past itself, it's how she carries it. If she hides it, she probably hasn't left it behind. And now, a quick pause. If this kind of content is opening your eyes to things you used to miss, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning. Let's keep going. The next trait seems sweet on the surface, but it's hiding something else entirely. The cheating woman uses flirting as social currency. One of the most shocking differences between women who cheat and those who don't lies in how they treat flirting. A cheating woman sees flirting as a tool, a way to gain influence. She flirts at work, on social media, with friends, with strangers. For her, seduction is a way to feel alive and admired. The loyal woman, however, knows a toxic relationship often begins when you normalize intimacy with people outside the relationship. You can spot the difference in public behavior. The cheating woman seeks stares, provokes reactions, and makes sure she seems available, even when committed. She craves constant attention and chases male validation. The woman who doesn't cheat values discretion. That doesn't mean she's invisible, it means she's selective. She knows that too much energy aimed outward will eventually crack what's inside. Some women say they like feeling desired and that it's harmless. But let's be honest, it's not. It may not be physical cheating, but it opens emotional doors. The loyal woman knows that a compliment at the wrong time, a lingering look, or an intimate conversation with the wrong tone can lead somewhere worse. That's where self-control kicks in. She feels temptation and chooses to protect what she built. The problem is many men confuse this behavior with charisma. They assume she's just friendly or sociable. But charisma is one thing. Constant flirting is something else. A woman who lives in that mode is always testing the market. Not because she's unhappy with you, but because she struggles to maintain emotional loyalty when she's not the center of attention. Wise men understand that constant public flirting is a red flag. And no, it's not insecurity to point it out. A secure man isn't the one who tolerates everything. He's the one who sees clearly and knows how to set boundaries. A woman who doesn't cheat would never put her man in a position of doubt. She knows trust isn't demanded, it's built. The way she behaves around other men shows how much respect she truly has for you, even when you're not around. And that leads us to another critical difference: how she handles her own freedom. This attitude may seem like independence, but it's really a test in disguise. The cheating woman uses freedom As an excuse, there's a subtle but brutal difference between a woman who values freedom and one who uses it to avoid consequences. The cheating woman often says things like, "I'm free, no one owns me," or "I don't owe anyone explanations." But that's not freedom, that's ego dressed up. The loyal woman is free too, but she understands that true freedom walks hand in hand with emotional responsibility. The unfaithful woman pulls out the freedom card to justify sketchy behavior. She disappears for hours, chats with other men, posts thirst traps on social media, and when you ask about it, she flips the script. Suddenly, you're the jealous one. That's a textbook case of subtle manipulation. And if the man falls for it, he loses control of the relationship. Without realizing it, the loyal woman sees things differently. Being in a relationship doesn't mean she's trapped, it means she's committed. She respects time, space, and boundaries. She has enough emotional intelligence to know where the line is and doesn't play around with provocation. Her self-respect shows in how she interacts with others. She doesn't need to push the limit to feel alive. That if a woman starts using freedom as an argument to break silent agreements in the relationship, take a step back and watch carefully. Real freedom builds trust, it doesn't destroy it. The woman who cheats looks for loopholes to justify behavior done in the shadows. The loyal woman, even if she has the chance, she won't cross the boundaries she herself values. This behavior also reveals whether she understands the concept of clear boundaries. A high-value woman knows where individuality ends and the couple's space begins. The one who cheats ignores that line. She does whatever she wants, whenever she wants, and then demands understanding. That's when a man must stand firm, not with shouting, but with presence. A woman who respects healthy freedom helps build something solid. The one who distorts that concept breeds confusion, invites drama, and creates unnecessary tension. And speaking of tension, the next trait reveals how she handles conflict, and that's where the mask usually slips. When pressure hits, the real difference becomes crystal clear. The cheating woman disappears in the face of conflict. Pay close attention. A woman who cheats can't handle emotional pressure. When the relationship demands maturity, presence, and honest conversation, she shuts down. She avoids, vanishes, deflects. This is a direct sign of lacking emotional intelligence. The woman who doesn't cheat, she steps up when things get hard. Even if she's hurt, she looks for solutions, not escape. Because she values connection and knows what's at stake. When confronted, the cheating woman flips the narrative. She turns conflict into an excuse to pull away. And in that emotional distance, she often finds temporary relief in someone else. This is when female infidelity sneaks in moments of silence, withdrawal, or the classic, "I just need some time." The truth is, she doesn't want to solve anything. She wants to escape the responsibility that love demands. On the other hand, the loyal woman knows conflict is part of the deal. She doesn't have to agree with everything, but she'll talk it out, express herself, and compromise when needed. Her behavior is grounded in something real, not fleeting emotions. She knows love is tested in difficulty, and she won't let chaos take over. Her hidden character is steady, even in storms. This difference affects the man deeply. When he sees she disappears every time things get tough, his trust gets shaken. He becomes tense, walks on eggshells, and loses his sense of self. That tension slowly kills any connection. The loyal woman, however, stays present, even in tension. That stability is more powerful than 1,000 empty promises. And remember, running away isn't always physical. Sometimes, she's there in the body, but her mind is distant. She's cold, indifferent, numb. That emotional absence is one of the strongest red flags for cheating. The loyal woman isn't afraid to feel. She opens up, even if it's messy, because real strength is in holding the connection, not pretending everything is fine. And now that you've seen how they handle pressure, we come to one of the most deceptive differences of all: how she responds to compliments. Something that may seem innocent, but reveals exactly where her ego is hiding. This behavior is subtle, but it tells you everything about her ego. The cheating woman feeds off external praise. This might be one of the most dangerous differences, because it hides behind what looks like confidence. A cheating woman has a constant hunger for outside validation. Compliments, likes, messages from strangers, glances across the room. That's her fuel. She feels alive when she knows other men want her, even if she's already in a relationship. And that's where the trap is. This craving isn't confidence, it's a masked insecurity. Male validation becomes her emotional drug. Now does a loyal woman appreciate compliments? Of course, but she doesn't depend on them. Her security doesn't come from how others see her. It comes from how she sees herself. She doesn't need to constantly show off to feel loved. There's a grounded calm in how she carries herself. She might receive praise, but it never shifts the way she treats her partner. She has a healthy connection with her own worth, and she respects her man's masculine self-concept too. The woman who cheats, on the other hand, uses compliments to fill the void she refuses to face. And when her partner stops complimenting as much, she starts resenting him, as if it's his job to hold up her self-esteem. This creates a vicious cycle. She looks for outside attention to replace what she never built inside. That's when the behavioral pattern returns. Flirting, secret messages, harmless hangouts that end in disaster. Point one obvious sign: her obsession with social media. The cheating woman constantly posts provocative photos and gauges her worth by the number of reactions. And if you ask her about it, she says, "It's not for anyone. It's for me." But the truth isn't in the words, it's in the energy behind them. The loyal woman doesn't need to prove herself all the time. Her energy is calm, centered, and that builds trust. The problem isn't the compliment, it's the emotional dependence on it. When her self-worth exists only in the eyes of others, her loyalty becomes fragile. A man needs to observe how she reacts to that kind of attention, because behind what seems like a harmless smile could be fertile ground for betrayal. This is female psychology in action. Now that you've seen these 7 differences clearly, it becomes much easier to understand the kind of woman you're truly dealing with. But before we wrap this up, there's one final thing you need to consider: the deeper layer behind all these behaviors. Now that you've seen the real differences between women who cheat and those who don't, here's the question: are you going to ignore these signs, or are you going to start paying closer attention? What you just learned could save you years of frustration, emotional drain, and toxic relationships. Have you ever been with a woman who seemed perfect, but later revealed a side you never saw coming? Did you recognize any of these patterns in someone from your past, or maybe your present? Drop a comment and share. You might open another man's eyes just by telling your story. And if you made it this far, comment, "Now I see clearly." That way I'll know you're part of the group that's waking up to reality. Thank you, truly, for staying with me until the end. This channel exists for men like you. If this video helped you in any way, give it a like, send it to a friend who needs to hear this, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. What's coming next will take your awareness even further.